experiment even work? Well, we have this enzyme called catalase, and it's actually inside your potato. It looks something like this. And what does an enzyme do exactly? Well, it speeds up a chemical reaction. And here's the reaction we're talking about. We take the hydrogen peroxide that was in your cup, H2O2, and catalase can break that down or decompose it into water and oxygen gas. Now, oxygen gas, since it's a gas, can make some bubbles. And those are the bubbles that you see if this reaction is occurring. But what happens when we put it in the microwave? Well, we know that catalase in our potato would turn hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen gas, and that makes bubbles. But when we put it in the microwave and we heat it up, we add this potato to hydrogen peroxide and find that there's no bubbles because our catalase in the hydrogen peroxide hasn't done any reaction at all. Is it still catalase? What happens to the enzyme when we put it in the microwave? So I like to think of catalase and really any enzyme as being a bit high maintenance. So catalase at temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius becomes denatured. And what that really means is that catalase has specific conditions that are optimal or best for it to retain its shape. So it likes the temperature 37 degrees Celsius. It likes a neutral pH, not an acid or a base, just like water. And it turns out that enzymes in general have a specific shape that fits really well with the chemicals that they react with or their substrates. So catalase has a spot in its shape where hydrogen peroxide fits really well. Some people call this a lock and key model, where the enzyme is the lock and the substrate or the chemical that it reacts with is the key, and it's a perfect fit. Now, if we heat it up or put it in a pH that it doesn't like, then it becomes denatured. The enzyme changes shape and no longer fits with its substrate. So it can't do the reaction anymore. The big idea here, guys, is that structure is essential for an enzyme doing its function. So as soon as we heat it up or put it in a pH that it doesn't like, it'll actually change its shape, and since it can't fit its substrate anymore, that changes its function. So you have catalase inside your liver, and it breaks down the hydrogen peroxide and keeps it from building up to a toxic level. Now, question for you to ponder, what would happen to this really important enzyme if you had a high fever, if you were sick?